This is our second webinar that Shapa has hosted. My name is Laura Felton. I'm part of the Shapa team. I work on the product side and the content side of Shapa. And I'm going to introduce Robert, who's our guest speaker tonight. He is an amazing, enthusiastic, motivational speaker. He is a certified nutritionist, fitness expert, motivational speaker, author, overall amazing man. Worked with a lot of individuals, companies, celebrities, athletes, helping everyone achieve their weight loss goals and improve their health. He's also CEO of Diet Free Life and has been dubbed America's Fat Loss Coach. And he's going to be talking us through how to avoid weight gain this holiday season. I'm going to pass it over to you, Robert.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the introduction. And thanks to all of you who are able to be here live. And of course, for those who are catching the replay. As I've been introduced, I specialize in helping people with weight loss, specifically fat loss, because, as you reduce your fat weight, that's where a lot of the negatives come about, as far as overall condition and illnesses and challenges. And that's one of the main reasons why I love Shapa. I love Shapa as a device for the behavioral side of it. I love the fact that sometimes when I step on the Shapa, I really don't want to know what my weight is. I just want to know if I'm moving in the right direction, if you know what I mean. So in this time of year, it really comes in handy, probably more than any other time of year. But I'm going to share with you guys 10 things that we can all do that does not take away from your joy. It does not, damper anything. It's actually some really cool, easy things that we can all do throughout the holidays. And it's habits that we can have in place even after the holidays that can help us in moving forward and living our healthiest life. The overview is that we are going to touch on or highlight 10 tips to avoid weight gain this time of year, because many people do gain weight during this time of year, and then they begin or find themselves extremely frustrated come January. We're not going to have to deal with that because we're getting the right tips and we're going to put this into place. We're going to talk about actions and things that we can do to avoid that unwanted weight gain. And then if you guys have questions as we move forward, I am here to give my absolute best to you in helping you optimize, because this webinar that we're putting together right now and providing is 100% for you. Okay, so without further delay, and again, we will have time for questions. So write them down and have them ready when it's time, or type them in, and then we'll cover those at the end. But the very first thing we're going to talk about is being active. Now, when I say being active, I'm not saying become an athlete. I'm just saying be active, right? Because the holiday season can 100%, throw our metabolism into a tizzy. It can put us in a position where we feel like we're doing things, but we're not doing the things that are going to help us. But here's the reality. When you're wrapping that gift, or you're going shopping and you're walking around and looking at stores, that's being active. So I would say just keep positive and invite other people in your family, friends, to be active with you. There is nothing wrong if you live in a place where you can go outside during this time of the year and go for a walk and talk, spend time with a friend, talking and walking. All of that is going to help you in a big way. Oftentimes people downplay the benefits of walking, but here's the deal. For over 20 years, I've been helping people lose weight. I've been helping people avoid gaining weight. And the number one thing that I've seen to benefit all people is walking. Walking is your friend. And so when I look at the holiday season and I look at how much time I'm going to spend going shopping and going to the mall and going grocery shopping, I'm just going to be extremely optimistic and with excitement park a little further away when everybody else is struggling and battling to get that spot closest to the store. I'm going to, with enthusiasm, park further away, enjoy the walk in, knowing I'm going to have the walk out, and all of that is going to contribute to keeping you in a place where you're less likely to gain unwanted body fat. Your workouts may not be the same. You may miss a workout here and there if you're already that active. But again, this is your time to maybe take time and relax and let your body repair. And don't beat yourself up. But continue to do the things that you're already doing. Do them to your best ability without any guilt if you don't get in your workouts, and just look for ways to be more active. You know, wrap an extra gift, do extra things, walk a little further, and be good with it, because that right there is going to benefit you big time. Okay, so that's our first tip, is to just be active. Okay, and as you're being active, all of that is going to help you in a big way. The second tip we're going to share with you is to eat. Yes, you heard me correctly. A snack. One of the things that people tend to forget, and we've talked about this in a past webinar, is that whenever you eat, you literally burn more calories. Give yourself some guidelines when it comes to snacking, right? So we talked about an ideal snack would be anything that's 100 to 200 calories for women and 100 to 300 calories for men. Now, the closer you eat, to nature, the better. But guess what? It's the holiday season, and there's going to be cookies. There's going to be donuts. There's going to be sweets and snacks all around you. But if you can be mindful when it comes time to eating, don't beat yourself up and not avoid the cookies. Eat the cookie, but keep it at one cookie. And make sure you're snacking and eating your meals throughout the day. All of this is going to 100% help you keep the unwanted weight off. When you're home, as far as an action tip, keep snacks tucked away to that you feel that you would overindulge, right? So for me personally, I like almonds. I really like them a lot. I love cashews. And when I buy cashews and almonds, I used to get these big bags, but I would eat the whole bag. I would eat everything in it. And so I quit eating those bags, or I would position myself where I would leave a bag of almonds or cashews in the car, in the trunk of my car, because I knew that I didn't trust myself. I would overindulge. But then they came out with like these big bags with little bags in them of almonds and cashews. And so I've discovered about myself is that whatever I open, I eat. So I don't buy anything that I'm going to overindulge with, because I do want to be mindful. And I do know myself after being on this planet for a good amount of time. And so you know you better than anyone else. And so if you're going to bring certain foods in the house that you're going to probably overindulge with, don't bring those foods. If you like ice cream, they have those little small, like quarter cup, little packages of ice cream. Get that instead of like a gallon of ice cream. Those are things that you can do. And make sure that you have whole foods around you in the house, grapes, bananas, an apple, a pear, where you could eat one and just kind of keep it moving. And then when you're looking at whole foods, choose foods that are going to be rich in fiber and protein when it comes to snacks. Like, people don't tend to think about snacking on chicken or turkey, but those are great snacks and they're protein rich. Same as beef jerky and turkey jerky and tofu jerky. Protein rich snacks can be very helpful, because even if you overindulge, because it's protein, you're less likely to see that spike in your sugar levels going up really high. You're less likely to find yourself overindulging when it comes to that, as far as protein rich compared to like something that's carb rich, like crackers and pretzels and those types of things. So those are things that you can do to surround yourself with all the things that are going to contribute to you living your healthiest life. And it also helps to have options, right? So if everybody else wants to indulge in the cookies, make sure you have other snacks that are available so that when they're eating, you're eating, but you're eating the foods that are going to nurture your metabolism. Make sense? Okay. Well, it makes a ton of sense to me. So let's move on to the next one. The next tip is one that I am going to share with you guys as at the same time share with myself. And that is getting plenty of sleep. Look how peaceful that baby looks. Man, that's a great photo right there. Sleep is your friend. And unfortunately, people don't get enough sleep. Sleep helps restore, empower your metabolism. Sleep puts you in a position where you can better deal with stress. Sleep helps your body repair itself. People who get 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night are less likely to gain weight, to less likely to hold body fat. So do the best that you possibly can to get 7 to 8. If you're getting 6, hey, that is awesome. That's way better than getting 5 or getting 4. And do everything you can to optimize your sleep. Most recently, one of the things that I've learned, even though I've talked about for years, and when I say learn, that means I'm applying it, is that I make sure my room where I'm sleeping is as dark and as quiet as possible. And I then discovered the power of taking naps when you don't get a full night of sleep. If your sleep isn't good, find a way to get in 20, 30, maybe 45 or 60 minutes for a nap. And it can do wonders. It helps with clarity. It helps with mental focus. It helps with energy. It helps you repair. And it helps you become way more less likely to gain unwanted body fat. So sleep is one of those things that unfortunately gets, it doesn't get the credit that it deserves. Sleep is your friend, and do everything you can to get in your sleep. Drinking alcohol late at night can kind of interfere with your sleep at times. Drinking too much water close to falling asleep can wake you up in the middle of the night. Just be mindful of all those things so that you can optimize your sleep. Okay, so moving on to number 4, we're going to talk about stress. And stress is one of those things that, you know, we grow up, we learn the alphabet, we grow up, we learn about many different things, but our teachers and education doesn't put us in a position where we learn to cope very well. And the holidays can be extremely stressful. Sometimes it could be financially, sometimes it could be a relationship, but no matter what the situation is that's causing you to feel stress, do everything you can to move into acceptance of what it is. And then that will help you be more creative in finding a solution for your situation. Stress can be tough, but at the same time, having coping skills can make it easier on us. So number 1, take a few minutes each day to meditate, or simply pause and just take a few deep breaths. I've been personally using this technique, and it's helping me a lot. And what happens for me personally when I'm dealing with stress is it gives me a sense of gratitude. And when I have gratitude and I'm thankful, then I found that I'm a little bit more creative. And when I tap into that ability to be creative, I'm less likely to be stressed. Another tip or action step would be don't overcommit yourself to social engagements. You're going to be invited to a lot of things. And some of us thrive just being invited. We want to be around people. But deep down inside, many of us, even though we're having fun, we're feeling stressed because more things come up that we need to be committed to. And more people are asking for this and asking for that. And you know what? We can't do all things, you know, for all people. So my recommendation is, you know, choose the engagements that you want to go to carefully. So you have a good time, and don't overcommit. And it's okay to say no. And the last action step would be do one thing each day just for you. Because what I've seen with many clients over the years is that we get so caught up in trying to help everyone else that we forget to take care of ourselves. And as they say, you know, with, you know, being on an airplane, when the oxygen masks fall down, it's very important that you focus on first taking care of yourself. And when you can take care of yourself, you're better able to give the best of who you are to everyone else. So think about that 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes that you take for yourself each and every day as a way to refuel yourself, as a way to be thankful for the person that you are and where you are in your life. And if you're not where you want to be, at least it puts you in a position where you have that quiet time and you can think about all the things that you would like to do to move you in a direction to be the person that you most want to be. So just taking that time can help reduce stress. And when you reduce your stress levels, it also helps you not gain unwanted body fat. There's a hormone called cortisol that is secreted when we experience stress. And the higher the levels of stress, the more chronic the stress is, the more likely you may find yourself gaining unwanted body fat, like in your midsection. You don't want that there. And so find that place of happiness and joy and hang on to it and do all the things that you possibly can to help you stay refreshed, to stay hopeful, and to move forward. Okay? I'm doing exactly what I'm sharing with you guys. Trust me, I am just like everyone that I'm talking to, many of my physician friends, executives, people who are doing really well, celebrities, they're all going through the exact same thing. So it's 100% relative, and taking time for yourself can help you better cope and deal with the stresses of life. Okay? So let's move on to number 5, where we're going to talk about weighing yourself regularly. I am a big believer in stepping on the scale at least one day a week. And when I say scale, fortunately, we're talking about the Shapa, because Shapa is the real deal. Yes, you can look at your weight. Yes, you can look at your body fat percentage. But the feedback that I continue to get from people, I've had people literally cry in front of me because they're so happy with having the Shapa in comparison to a traditional conventional scale. And I'm going to give you an example, and then I'll give you the action tips here. I met a woman. I was in Wisconsin doing some seminars, and I was promoting the Shapa for a good amount of time. And this woman during that time had discovered the Shapa. And so she came up to me, and this lady started sharing with me how she was in an abusive relationship with someone. And this man was such a jerk. I'm going to use that word. Hope that's okay. He is such a jerk that he would have his wife at the time step on a scale, a regular scale, 3 times a day, and he would check her weight. So this narcissist created so much drama with this lady that when fortunately she got out of the relationship and years goes by and she's battling with her weight, and she discovered Shapa. As a result of discovering Shapa and stepping on Shapa and allowing the colors, the feedback she was getting to guide her, this woman is down about 50 pounds now. But more importantly, she has Shapa who keeps her focused and keeps her on track. And she's so thankful. As she shared the story with me, I started crying, she was crying, everybody was crying, because finally we have something that is not subjective and puts you in a position where you feel horrible when you see the numbers go up on the scale. It's something that is communicating with her and giving her daily messages, right? Tips and content to help drive her and keep her focused and not so much fixated on the wrong part of a traditional scale. So for me, even during the holidays, I recommend once a week, but step on Shapa every day. Step on it like it's like your moment of meditation. Definitely don't go more than a week without stepping on it. But with Shapa, you want to step on it every day. And if you do that, I believe that at the end of this holiday season, and you continue to do that, it will set you up for total success. Okay, so make it part of your ritual. When you wake up in the morning, step on Shapa. Find out where you are. And then make a commitment to yourself to keep your health goals in focus throughout this holiday season. And why is that? Because you deserve it. You're important. You deserve it. We all deserve it. Okay? So Shapa is our friend, and Shapa is going to guide us all the way through the holiday season and for the rest of our lives. Okay, let's go to number 6. And we're going to talk about Sip Smart. Oh, man. You know what? I'm going to tell you right now. There are so many people who are finding themselves in coffee shops. And for whatever reason, they're not as mindful in a coffee shop as they would be in a small, grocery store or a mini mart. And my point is that people are so quick to be negative about drinking a soda because of the sugar content, or drinking some type of juice that you get out of like a gas station. But the reality is, when you go to these coffee stores, some of those drinks, those mocha frappuccinos, etc., are so high in sugar, sometimes 2, 3, 4 times more sugar than you would get drinking a regular soda. So be mindful of what you're consuming. You know, if you're going to get a latte at Starbucks, for instance, get a skinny latte. It's only 140 calories. Just be mindful of it so you can still enjoy your time and the festivities around being out and stopping at, you know, the coffee stores and getting like a favorite drink. But at the same time, water is your friend. You want to stay hydrated. The more water you're drinking, the less water you hold. It sounds counterproductive, but it's the reality. I was with a scientist today, and we were talking about, you know, body composition. And I was showing him the Shapa, and he found it fascinating. And we were talking about when you're dropping body fat, how it can fluctuate. Like the higher body fat you have, you see more of a fluctuation. It's not consistently dropping. Sometimes it drops, sometimes it doesn't. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that you hold water. And women tend to hold more water in their fat than men. And so as a result, the body fat weight can fluctuate. Well, if you drink more water, you're less likely to hold more water. So hopefully that makes sense. So drink water, drink teas, drink coffee, be mindful of what you add to it, and just be conscious of what you're doing. I mean, it's okay to have that peppermint mocha. I mean, it really is. But just take time and savor it and make a conscious effort to not maybe go with the large, but maybe go with the small. And then opt for seasonal flavored teas. Like during this time of the year, for me personally, I tend to drink more tea than I would drink more like sugar-laced drinks. Like what I mean by that is that flavored teas can be calorie-free. Flavored teas can taste absolutely great. And when it's inside the cup and your friend is drinking a mocha frappuccino that's really high in sugar, theirs is inside the cup. The part that you're enjoying is that you're together and that you're having time together. They're not looking at exactly what you have inside your cup. So it's okay to drink flavored teas and you know, apple cinnamon type teas. Have fun with that. But by doing that, you're less likely to indulge or find yourself indulging in too much sugar at one time. Okay, so let's move on to number 7. And number 7, we've titled Bring Something to Share. You have holiday parties, right? You're going to be spending time with friends and coworkers. You're going to be catching up with people. There's going to be like desserts on all the tables, you know, at every meeting you go to. People are going to be coming in with their favorite, you know, family fudge and cupcakes and all these great foods, right? And we want to eat something, but it's always nice if you bring something as well and you share with other people and bring something that is going to nurture the outcomes of what you want, right? So you can bring the healthier option. You can bring in, you know, maybe meat slices or bring in foods and snacks that would serve your best interests. And then if you still wanted to have a bite of some of the other foods that are there, great. But at least you're enjoying those other foods without being hungry. One of the worst things that we can do during the holiday seasons is to let too much time go by, allow our blood sugar levels to fluctuate or drop too low, and find ourselves in an environment where all of the foods there, when you're hungry, are not going to serve your best interests based on your goals that you have in place. Well, you're going to probably overindulge, and then you're going to beat yourself up the next day, and that's not going to be a good thing. So bring foods and eat foods that are going to help you not find yourself in a situation where you're not able to rationalize and you find yourself just overindulging on everything. And then later on that evening or the next morning, you wake up and you just feel absolutely horrible that you just threw everything out the window and you feel like you're a failure. We don't want that to happen. So these are things that you can do that can help you optimize those situations and keep you in the driver's seat. And that's what we want. So always survey the choices that you have in front of you and make the healthiest choices. And healthy does not always mean bland. Healthy does not mean it's not enjoyable. Bring your own food, you know, keep snacks in your purse or in your glove box. Have things nearby. When you go to a party, maybe snack before you go. So then you're less likely to find yourself in a situation where your blood sugar levels have flatlined. We don't want that to happen, okay? And that takes us to our next our next tip. Number 8 is don't skip meals. Do not skip meals. Let me just ask you, if you went grocery shopping and 6, 7, 8 hours went by and you have not eaten, would you buy foods that are going to serve your body's best interests, or would you find yourself buying and eating things that you haven't eaten in years? Well, there you go. You would buy and eat things that you haven't eaten in years because you're hungry, and you can't rationalize as well when your blood sugar levels flatline. So don't skip breakfast, don't skip lunch, don't skip dinner, even on the days of the holiday. If you know you're going to eat 3 meals after 12 o'clock, then make the morning all snacks, because you know you're going to eat your 3 meals in the afternoon. Play with it, plan it out. You've lived long enough to know how the holiday seasons will work out. Begin your day with breakfast. Then eat every 2-3 hours. Never find yourself in a place where you're hungry. It's always ideal if you can eat before you get hungry. And then build your meals and be mindful about it. And begin with protein in mind. And then choose fiber-rich foods to go with your meals, right? So if I was eating chicken, or if I was eating turkey, or if I was eating filet mignon, if I'm eating tofu, okay, that's my protein source. Then I'm going to add my carbohydrates to it, which is going to include everything from a potato down to broccoli. But make sure you have broccoli or asparagus or something that's like high in fiber. And if you're not sure what's high in fiber, then you can Google that. What foods are high in fiber? And make sure those fiber-rich foods are part of your, what I call a fat burning meal, right? You have your protein, you get your fiber-rich foods, and life is great. If you do that, you're going to be happy, you're going to be satisfied, and it's going to work out. And if you were to ask me, like, give me an example, well, if I was home in Indiana with my mom, I can tell you right now that I'm going to eat either some fried catfish or I'm going to have some pork chops, because I grew up, that was my favorite meal. And with the pork chop, which is my protein, I'm going to have some mac and cheese. I love the way my mom makes mac and cheese. But because I am having my pork chop and I'm going to have my mac and cheese, I'm now going to look for some type of fiber-rich food. My mom makes great collard greens. I make delicious asparagus. My mom's actually pretty good at making broccoli. So I'm going to make sure one of those fiber-rich foods is part of my meal, knowing that I will eat again later, because I also love my mom's mashed potatoes. But I'm not going to eat the mashed potatoes with the mac and cheese and with the buns and with the bread. So I'm going to be mindful of that, and I'm going to space everything out. And in doing that, I don't feel deprived. I don't feel restricted. I feel like I was able to eat all the foods everyone else was eating. I just avoided the compound effect that is normally a negative impact on our blood sugar. And unfortunately, when it's a negative impact on our blood sugar, it puts us in a position where we're more likely to gain unwanted body fat. So just being mindful, begin everything with protein, think about fiber-rich foods, and then add in that little carb that you know you want to eat, but it's balanced out with the protein and the fiber. And then we got it. All right, I'm feeling good. It's almost over, you guys. Stay with me. Okay, we're going to number 9. Location, location, location. See, at the holiday gatherings, where you stand, where you find yourself matters. Standing next to the appetizers or drinks will make it much easier to reach over and grab just one more bite or refill that drink. Instead, stand on the other side. Don't make it so easy for you to eat something or drink something that you know deep down inside on a cellular level that it's not going to be beneficial. When you go to the food table and everybody's picking up their food, choose protein first and then add the rest of it. And put yourself in a position when you're at these homes or the office meeting or gathering where you don't have the bread directly in front of you. You don't have like the picture of margaritas directly in front of you. Just be mindful of that. Oftentimes, I've found myself and continue to experience this where I will ask the waiter, hey, do you mind taking the bread, or can you put it over on that side of the table? Because I know me. Now, some of you may not have a problem with this, may not be a challenge, but I can only speak from myself. I have a tough time not eating more than I would normally eat. Like, if you put the food in front of me, I'm probably going to eat it, especially if it's within reach. And there are studies that have demonstrated that when there's like a ton of variety and a whole bunch of different types of foods in front, people will tend to eat more than if there weren't a lot of variety. Like I'll never forget looking at the study where they looked at M&Ms and Skittles, and they said that more people ate more when it was a variety of colors compared to when it was just one color, as far as like the M&M or the Skittles. So variety can set you up to where you overindulge. So just be mindful of that, and it'll put you in a position where you will walk away the winner. Wayne Dyer used to always say that, you know, think from the end. And thinking from the end is thinking about how you want to feel when you wake up tomorrow. And if you were to do that throughout the holidays and throughout the rest of your life, do the things based on how you want to feel the next day, then you'll do the things that are going to help you feel the best the next day. That means you're going to be mindful, you're not going to overindulge, etc. Okay, let's go to number 10, which is one of my favorites actually, because I'm a true historian, right? So I've done a lot of research on the history of nutrition, and I can tell you that at the turn of, you know, when we moved into the 1900s, people were using plates, and the plates were way smaller back then than they are today. And we know that when you have a bigger plate, you tend to put more food on the plate. So I don't know if, you know, I'm not telling you to go spend your money and buy smaller plates. I think you'll have a tough time finding 9 and 10-inch plates because most of them are like 11 and 12 inches in circumference. But as the waistline of Americans has increased over the years, actually globally, also we see a parallel with the size of the dishes or the plates that we use when we eat. If you go into a cheesecake factory, for instance, you'll see there's tall ceilings, there's loud music, and the plates are pretty big. And they know that because of the size of the plate, the height of the ceilings, the loud music, the atmosphere, the way it's set up, that people will tend to eat more than if they had smaller plates. So opt for smaller plates. During the holidays, and even when I have my kids and we're doing things, I will tend to grab like a really small plate and eat dinner with them because I eat way less when I have a smaller plate compared to a larger plate. You know, this may be simple, it may be elementary to you, but I'm telling you, I know I've been doing this over 20 years. It does play a big role in how much you're going to eat. So smaller plates are ideal. You know, like choose like a salad plate to eat your meal. That can come in handy. And if you go with a full-size plate, maybe that's the only size plate that they have available, then just make sure that you usually have lines on the plate. And if not, just make sure that you're closer in than further out, right? You don't want your food touching the outside of the plate when you have 11 or 12-inch size plate. And then all of this, even just thinking about that, is going to put you in a position to win. 100%. Just because you're thinking about it. That's what we mean by being mindful. It gives you added structure to how we live our lives, because without that structure, we become reckless and we just eat. And if you just eat and it becomes careless and you're not mindful, then you find yourself in a situation where you wish you had been more mindful. So there you go. Now, these 10 ways to avoid weight gain this holiday season is we're going to stay active. We're going to be mindful when it comes to our snacking. We're going to sleep, do the best we can. Take advantage of those days when you can sleep in also. We're going to work on our coping skills so we stress less. We're going to step on the Shapa every day, okay, every day. And that color is going to help you out, because if you go from green to gray, that doesn't feel good, right? So we're going to be smart when it comes to the liquids that we consume. We're going to, when we go to parties and gatherings, we're going to bring things to share. One, we're sharing, which is great because we care. But at the same time, if they don't have other options for us, at least what you bring to share is an option for you. We're not going to skip any meals because we know that every time we eat, we're burning more calories. Location is always going to be king. And we're going to like be mindful of the amount of food that goes on our plate. And we're going to have a close eye on the size of our plate. And all of that is going to help you be successful, right? Because having some structure and some guidance, you know, during this time of the year, is kind of like going to boot camp and then preparation for war. I mean, could you imagine, you know, someone going to Vietnam or some type of war without any type of boot camp or training? Well, this was our boot camp, you guys. We're mindful, we're focused, we know how we want to feel come January, and we're not going to put on 5, 8, or 10 extra pounds between now and then, because we are going to be mindful, and we're going to position ourselves so that we can take everything to the next level in this upcoming year. This is your time to shine. And so I'm excited for you. I believe you have everything in your position. If you're here on this call, whether it's live or you're catching a replay, and you made it to this point, then I know you're serious about taking care of yourself. So any questions that you have right now about anything that touches on nutrition, on weight loss, how lifestyle integrates with that, fitness, want some ideas, please post your questions. I'm here to answer and give you the best advice I can provide, with the hope of you thriving through the holiday season, you know, enjoying all the festivities, but yet being in a healthier position come January, and not in a worse position. So what do you think of that there, Laura? How are we doing?
We're doing well. Thank you, Robert. That was great. So if anyone has any questions for Robert, you are either welcome to unmute yourself and you can ask live, or you can type it into the chat box and I will read it off to him and we can answer your questions. Holiday related, nutrition related, general fitness related. Now's your moment to chat with the expert.
And you know, I want to share a story as the questions may come in. It's a short story, but one of my friends about 6 years ago had come to me, and we were talking. He was concerned. He had type 2 diabetes. He had just been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And he was like, man, I'm ready to do something about this. And I go, great. So we started talking, and then he didn't show up for his first session, and he never showed up. And then, you know, about a year and a half ago, I was talking to him because he has about, you know, a few more years before he retires. And unfortunately, his type 2 diabetes has gotten worse. He now goes to dialysis 3 days a week. He's about to lose a toe. And none of this was going on just 5, 6 years ago. But he continued to put it off and put it off and put it off and put it off. And now he's at a place where there's no return. And so he's about to retire. And basically, once he retires, 3 out of the 7 days a week, he's going to find himself in dialysis. And now he can't even eat that cookie anymore, even though I believe he's eating it. And it's just made his life so miserable. And I just feel for anyone in that situation. And I believe that everything that we've talked about in this webinar would have helped him, you know, back then. But he wouldn't have been in the webinar. You know what I mean? So I'm sharing this story because I commend you guys for making time to be here, live or the replay. I commend you also for, you know, investing in Shapa, because at this moment in time, it is 100% the best device out there that's available from a psychological standpoint and from a physical standpoint that can help people really thrive with maximizing their ability to live their healthiest life. So you're in a great place. No matter where you are, you're doing something about it. You're making time for this because I value your time. Laura, both of us, we both value your time. You know, some of you is probably later than others. And I just want to say thank you and congratulations for taking time to invest in yourself. So I shared that story because I just wanted to just really thank you for giving us a chance to share information that we 100% believe can help you make the most of your overall health. So
Looks like we have one question that popped in, although now I cannot open the Q&A.
I can see the question. It's from Heidi. She says, are all proteins created equal pretty much if they're cooked well? I wouldn't say that all proteins would be created equal, because some proteins will bring with it trans fatty acids, which is not something that I would recommend for anyone. Some will come with higher cholesterol than others. But, you know, protein is valuable. And the leaner the protein, you know, the better in most situations. However, that's not to condemn saturated fats or anything like that, because there's a lot of healthy saturated fats. But if you focus on the portion size, then I think it really doesn't matter. You can 100% eat, for the most part, whatever protein you want to eat, as long as you're not overindulging, meaning you're eating too much of it at one time. So hopefully that was helpful. Helpful. If it wasn't, Heidi, just let me know, and I can expand on that. Okay. Well, Heidi is I think she's good. She's good with that answer. Any other questions out there, you guys? Any questions that you have that maybe you would ask based on helping a friend, or you believe that a lot of people wouldn't ask because maybe they're afraid, or if I answered it now, they'll catch it in a replay and it could be beneficial for them?
I have one question for you.
Okay.
Do you have any tips for surviving an office holiday party?
Don't go. No. You know what? I'll just share with you what I do, and I recommend what I do because I go to a lot of parties. I always eat something before I go. Always. I just know. And whether it's a snack in my car right before I go in, sometimes it's an energy bar that I'll eat, or like a piece of fruit, or maybe I'll eat before I go, knowing there's going to be a lot of food. And then while I'm there, if I eat anything, then I'm snacking on it and not making it my meal. Because if you make it your meal, most parties are going to be very high volume when it comes to carbs. And that doesn't mean that carbs are bad. It's just that if everything is carbs, you have that compound effect of eating too many carbs at one time. So that really helps me. And it's helped for many, many years. I also know that Beverly asked a question. She says, what is the correct portion size of protein? If you were to use your hand size to measure or monitor the amount of protein you eat as part of a fat burning meal, I would say go from the bottom of the palm of your hand up to the top of the first knuckle and no thicker than your hand when it's lean proteins, right? You know, most fish, turkey breast, chicken breast, filet mignon. If you believe it's fatty, then I would stick to like a palm size and no thicker than your palm. If you did that, then you're good. And oftentimes people will come back to me and say, well, that feels like a lot of, I feel like I'm eating a lot. Well, that's like the max. If you ate half of your palm, then that's plenty of protein. You don't really need that much protein, because even when you eat rice or you eat a potato or you eat almost anything else out there, there's going to be some, it could be minute, but there's going to be some protein that comes with that. And that combined with all the other foods you're eating will give you an adequate amount of protein. So Misty, I don't know if you can see that question. She says, does the portion size also apply to vegan sources? Absolutely. Tempeh, tofu, seitan, the different brands that are out there. The cool part is that a lot of processed soy-based proteins, they will have the nutritional facts on the label. So look at the nutritional facts on the label as an idea of how much you would consume. And if you went with the serving size, then you'll be good. And that works for both men and women when it comes to your protein foods that are vegan-based.
Out of curiosity, Robert, what's the visual that you provide for going on the vegan protein source for like nuts and seeds? I'm assuming palm of your hand might be more than a serving of nuts or seeds.
Well, I mean, for nuts, you're pretty good. Like for instance, a portion amount for like while I was snacking on almonds would be somewhere between 20 and 30 almonds. And that would fit like in the palm of your hand. Not going up, just like on the landscape of it. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
because I've had people say, well, I can stack it this high. Okay, well, you know that's not what I'm saying. Right? So
Keeping it flat, flush on the palm.
yeah, keeping it flat. There you go. And you're very safe to do that. So people know, even without knowing, most people know. And that's why we keep using the word mindful, because people really do have a pretty good idea. Like they know when they've overindulged, and that's why they're not mindful about it. We can all be mindful, and just being mindful can really be beneficial. And if you are blending your foods like that, then that means you're getting a variety of different types of foods. And all of that is going to help you. It actually will help you avoid hitting stalls with your weight loss as well. Because then you're not focusing on how many calories are in the food. You're focused more on just eating a variety of foods in the right combinations that don't cause your blood sugar levels to go up too high or fluctuate down too low. And if it's something you're snacking on, if you Google, like if you went online and said, okay, I'm going to eat these corn nuts and they're not in a package, so I don't know how many make for a serving, you could Google corn nuts nutrition, and you'll find a pretty good source that'll tell you how many calories are in a certain portion size. And if you're snacking, then keep it at 100 to 200 calories and then keep it moving. If for women, if it's a man, 100 to 300 calories. And if I was at a party, I'm mindful of that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to eat some of everything. Or I'm going to eat like that one thing that I really like, and I'm going to keep it at the portion size. So when I'm at a party, I am a big fan of wine. I love wine. And I'm like, man, do they have wine here? And I know that for every ounce of red wine or white wine, I'm getting about 20 calories in an ounce. So if I had 5 ounces of wine, that's a 100-calorie snack. And if I had that with like a piece of cheese, then I'm good. And then 2 hours goes by and I may have another glass of wine. And by spacing it out like that, it doesn't put me in a position where I'm going to, go to jail or, get in trouble because I had a drink and then I was driving. And that's because of the time between that first glass of wine and maybe another one. And the fact that I had eaten beforehand and I had snacked during the process, and that all is going to help you as well. So that's why you don't want to avoid any meals. You don't want to avoid any snacks. And if you're going to have that glass of wine, keep it at one, and then enjoy the conversations with all the people and keep it moving. And if you already had a glass of wine, then go get a spritzer. That's another thing like I'll do is I'll get like maybe 2 ounces of wine, mix it with some type of carbonation or carbonated water, or even like a diet, some type of flavored drink, just to give it some added flavor, or spike it up a little bit like that. And then I'm good. So then I can have 2 inside of like a short period of time. It's going in with a plan, just be ready for that. I know Katie, how you doing there, Katie? Thanks for being here. She says, how do you handle food pushers at family gatherings? Oh, man.
Everyone has one. This is a great question.
You know what? Food is funny because I think in my second weight loss book, I talked a lot about food pushers because they are everywhere. Because I used to have, my food pusher was my former mother-in-law. She knew I didn't eat certain things, but when I would go there, she would give me a guilt ticket that I would never take. But the guilt ticket was, I stayed up late last night. I knew you would like this. I hope you can find it in you to at least try it. I mean, what do you do when someone says it like that? Right? So I come up with like techniques that I learned in my work dealing with people in recovery. If you push someone to have a drink and you didn't know that they were in recovery, then they tell you, thank you, but right now I'm going through recovery. Then you leave them alone. Food pushers walk away. If you're talking to someone and they say, hey, Katie, you got to try this muffin or this, try this, eat this, try this, you got to have a bite of it. And then you say, no, thank you. And then they come back and they push and they push. And if you say something like, Well, right now I got these goals. I'm just trying to, like, drop some weight. That's like the worst thing you could say, because it then puts you in a position where they want to debate with you. You don't want to debate with people. And this is a mindset thing. You want to be strong. And when you're not as strong to deal with people like that, you want to have some techniques. So the techniques would be to redirect. So if someone came to you, Katie, and you didn't feel like saying, oh, no, thank you, and they couldn't feel the energy behind that and leave you alone, and they keep pushing, then you could say something like, hey, so did you get that new job that you were working on? And trust me, if you redirect and get them to talk about something that's about them, they will forget about pushing food on you, because that's the kind of person they are. So get them to talk about things that they're into, or compliment them in a way, and then they'll forget about pushing the food on you. And then if they continue to push, say, oh, excuse me for a second, I gotta go use the restroom, then that's another way to get yourself out of the conversation. And then if they come back around, you say, you know what, I just ate, but maybe I'll look at having some of that later. So it's like you redirect and shift the focus from you onto something else. And then you can always, like I said, you can always give them that place where you say, you know what, soon as I'm not as hungry, or my stomach's bothering me a little bit right now, I'll take a look at it. So you're not lying, you're just going to take a look at it later, because the food pushers will come in. And in the world of psychology, I'll end on this. This helped my mom. My mom ended up losing 125 pounds, and she hasn't gained it back. And this is a technique that 100% helped my mom big time. And my mom would do things like this, because she would deal with food pushers all the time. And it's almost like they didn't want her to be successful. But my mom would look at people and say, hey, you know what? I really appreciate that. Is there a way for us to talk about that later? And they would go, oh yeah, because they didn't know how to deal with that. And then they would leave her alone. So it's almost like she would say, hey, let's talk about it later. And then everything died. So I don't know why it worked so well, but it worked great for my mom. And I actually watch her do that all the time. And my mom's been in recovery for like 30 something years. Maybe she learned it from that, but she just redirects the focus of the conversation. And then she puts in she plants the seed that, hey, we can talk about that later. And then people leave it alone. And then she's good. So hopefully somewhere in there's some nuggets in my rambling that can help you guys as you are confronted with food pushers, because they do show up. I 100% get that.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Robert. Does anyone have any last final questions before we wrap up? Now would be your moment.
Well, I do want to acknowledge Katie just did a post. She says, yes, so true. I hate debating about it. That's great advice to redirect. People love to talk about themselves. There you go.
Very true.
So put it on them, and then keep it moving, or just move yourself out of the environment, and you'll continue to thrive. And think about yourself, right? Because you really got to take care of you, in order for you. It's what we call, like, in my field of work, we have this thing called, there's people who are self-centered, which is not a good thing. And then there's people who are other-centered. Other-centered is where I like to be. And that means if I can take care of me and do the things that only I can do that help support me, then I'm better able to give the best of who I am to everyone else. And so I think about my kids. I have an 8 and an 11-year-old daughter, and I love them with all my heart, the same as I'm sure you guys love your kids. And I realized that if I am not taking care of me, I don't give the best of who I am to them. And I'll go work out some days when I really don't want to work out because I'm being lazy or I'm finding an excuse. But I know that when I work out, going back to what Wayne Dyer said, think from the end, when I feel better about me, then when they see daddy, they get the best of who I am. And that's serving two purposes, right? It's serving the purpose of me taking care of me, and it's serving the purpose of them getting the best daddy they can get. And I live a big part of my life based on that, because I need to give them. There's a sense of gratitude in giving my kids the best of who I am than for them to like be around me and I'm mad that I hadn't lost weight. I'm mad that I didn't work out. I'm mad that I've gained weight. I'm mad that I'm eating horrible. I'm mad that my health is deteriorating. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to beat myself up like that. So I just work really hard. And no matter what stresses that you're experiencing in your life, no matter how bad or dark it gets, to come out of the darkness into the light, you need to be at your very best. So that's why no matter how bad, if you're homeless, if you're on the brink of losing everything, you still want to take care of you. Because if an opportunity comes for you to make things better, we need the best of who you are to be there. And you don't want to be in a position where opportunity shows up and you allow life to cause you to spiral downward. Just always be at your very best. And no, life isn't always, you know, fruits and cherries and peach cobbler. But if I'm at my very best, then I'm better able to deal with it. And when I was a former Marine, this was introduced to me because we trained a lot. We worked out a lot. We did all of that. And I remember saying, man, why are we working out all the time? Where they were constantly, because when you're in shape, you deal with stress better. When your body is in a healthy place, you deal with stress better. You deal with life better. And so think of it like that. And that will help you be more mindful, meaning you can still have fun. We never did say, right, Laura? We never said, don't eat the cookie.
Nope.
Nope.
Just
We
be
never.
mindful and enjoy.
That's it.
Favorite.
So that's gold right there, people. That's gold.
Thank you very much, Robert. Thank you all for attending. We'll post this onto YouTube. I'll send out an email if you want to watch it again later. If you forgot anything and want to sort of remember tips and tricks and Robert's wisdom, you're also welcome to email me if you have any questions that come up afterwards. And we wish you all a very happy holidays. Thank you very much for being part of the Shapa community. And we look forward to helping you guys achieve your health and weight goals going into 2019.
Thank you. Have a good one, you guys. Have a great holiday season.